guys, my name is Ashley Voorhees. It's Sunday, January 21st, and I'm going to discuss the four main tissues with you guys, with the first one being epithelial tissues, which are large sheets of cells that cover all surfaces of the body exposed to the outside world and lining the outside of the organs as well. Skin is not the only area that is exposed to the outside. Other areas that are also exposed include airways, the digestive tract, urinary and reproductive systems, which those are all lined with epithelium as well. So, epithelial tissues are completely avascular, so no blood vessels cross the basement membrane to enter the tissue, and nutrients must come from diffusion or absorption from underlying tissues or the surface. So many epithelial tissues are capable of rapidly replacing damaged and dead cells as well. Epithelial tissues provide the body's first line of protection from physical, chemical, and biological wear and tear. The cells of an epithelium act as a gatekeeper of the body, controlling permeability and allowing selective transfers of material across a physical barrier. All substances that enter the body must cross an epithelium. So, a lot of epithelial cells are capable of secretion as well and release mucus and specific chemical compounds onto their apical surfaces. The next one I'm going to discuss with you guys is connective tissues. So, major functions of connective tissues is to connect tissues and organs. Unlike the epithelial tissue, which is composed of cells closely packed with little or no extracellular space in between, connective tissue cells are dispersed in a matrix. The matrix usually includes a large amount of extracellular material produced by the connective tissues cells that are embedded within. The matrix plays a major role in the functioning of the tissue. The major component of the matrix is the ground substance, often crisscrossed by protein bones. Connective tissues come in vast variety of forms, yet they typically have in common three characteristic components: cells, large amounts of amorphous ground substance, and protein fibers. Although connective tissues perform many functions in the body, but most importantly, they support and connect other tissues. From the connective tissue sheath that surrounds muscle cells, to the tendons that attach muscles to bones, and to the skeleton that supports the positions of the body. Protection is another major function of connective tissues, in the form of fibrosis capsules and bones that protect delicate organs, and of course the skeletal system. Our next one we are going to discuss is the muscle tissue. So the muscle tissue is characterized by properties that allow movement. Muscle cells are excitable and they respond to stimulus. They are contractile, which means they can shorten and generate a pulling force when attached between two movable objects, in other words, like bones. Contractions of the muscles cause the bones to move. Some muscle movement is voluntary, which means it is under conscious control. Other movements are involuntary, meaning that they are not under conscious control. Three of the muscles that go within this one would be the skeletal muscle, which is attached to bones, and its contraction makes possible locomotion, facial expressions, posture, and other voluntary movements of the body. Another one is the cardiac muscle, which forms the contractile walls of the heart. The cells of the cardiac muscle, known as cardiomyocytes, also appear striated under the microscope. Now, the third one is smooth muscle tissue. The tissue contraction is responsible for involuntary movements in the internal organs. So this component is a component of the digestive, urinary, and reproductive systems, as well as the airways and arteries. And then we are going to discuss the fourth one, which is nervous tissues. Now, the nervous tissue is characterized as being excitable and capable of sending and receiving electrochemical signals that provide the body with information. Two main classes of cells make up nervous tissues, which is the neuron and the neuroglia. Neurons propagate information via electrochemical impulses called action potentials, which are biochemically linked to the release of chemical signals. Neuroglia plays an essential role in supporting neurons and modulating their information propagation. Let's see, what else can I tell you guys about the neuron tissues? It's late. So, the neurons are, they display distinctive morphology, well suited to their role as conducting cells with three main parts. The cell body includes most of the cytoplasm, the organelles, and the nucleus. So the second class of neural cells comprises the neuroglia or glial cells, which have been characterized as having a simple support role. The word glia comes from the Greek word of glue.
We actually just solved the case. You should come with us and have some drinks before we have dinner.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the nervous system. Because the most prominent cell of the nervous tissue is the neuron, which is characterized mainly by its ability to receive stimuli and respond by generating any electrical signal, known again as an action potential, which can travel rapidly over great distances of the body. And that's about it. Those are the four main tissues of the body. There's a lot to learn about them. I read a lot of information, but I think I covered mostly everything, so I go, you learned something, or I covered everything that needed to be covered.